Hey, family, Tacc man, how's your spirit? Talk to me. Tell me something good. You got a good one today. I'm sorry I missed y'all yesterday. I had company and I wind up not doing anything. Um, so my bad. But we got a good one tonight. Tonight is love. All right, we did HEAAL. Now this is L. The name of this platform is called Tacc. Through adversity come change by myself, Rich Coma. And what this program is about is helping us to heal. Um, One of the biggest components is love. Of course, in life, life is nothing without love. And what we're going through right now is a tough time. Somebody just came in, so I'll say this again. This platform is called Tact. Through Adversity Come Change. It's a book on Amazon that I wrote after having an accident last year. And I would advise you guys to check it out. I think it's something that can help you. And what this platform is about is helping everyone accept, achieve, and appreciate love. This is what it's about. Like I said, the things that are going on in the world right now is madness. And what we need right now is a little bit of love. And this is one of the things, one of the components of TAC. 5 principles, 3 articles, one healer, and the healer is helping everyone accept, achieve, and appreciate love. And we're gonna get into it. This is gonna be a good one. Tonight is not about romantic love only. It's about love as an origin, the journey, and the destination. Love helps us accept what we cannot change, achieve what truly matters, and appreciate the smallest graces. We will explore 10 parameters of love and why, through every up and down, love remains strongest force in the universe because God is love and love is God. Dig that, you know. And you can't put it no plainer than that. What we see right now is not God. God is love. Everything about God is love. What's going on today, that's not love. That's devil worship, basically. Because God does nothing to hurt anyone. His whole thing is for us to mature and learn through our lessons. Like I say, your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons that get you to your blessings. And this is the only way you can do that because we would love to live our lives backwards, but we must live it forwards. And it just is how life is. I don't make the rules. This is what life is. Love is acceptance. Acceptance is love's first gift. Before we achieve anything, we must accept ourselves, flaws, history, limits, then accept others without a demand for perfection. Meaning, like, once you understand a person is who they are and where they are in life, you must understand that's them. That doesn't mean that that's you. Then accept others without demands for perfections. Tonight, love helps you accept that some people will not change, some prayers get a not yet, and some chapters close without closure. And that's just how life is. Acceptance is not resignation, it is the grounds where real love grows. And see, this is the thing with love. You're gonna learn. What's up, baby boy? With love, you're going to learn who really is there for you, who's really not there for you, who's like I said, you have leaves, branches, and roots. Who's going to be a leaf? That what means it is come they go with the wind. They go on. Branches hold on a little bit stronger, but the only one to stay with you is the root. And love will show you that who really loves you and who really doesn't. Uh, and when God doesn't give you certain things, it's for a reason sometimes. So you can't say like, God, my prayers are not no, sometimes your prayers are answered, whereas you won't get you in trouble. Like I have a saying now, like, when things transpire, I said, that was just God saving me. Well sometimes, we don't know how to save ourselves. Love is achievement. Love is a verb, not just a feeling. Achieving love means in choosing patience when anger is easier. Let me say it again. Achieving love means choosing patience when anger is easier. Being in a relationship, you know how that goes. You know, in a relationship, sometimes you want to, lash out, but you can't. You must be patient. Speak truth when silence is safer. Sometimes you have to say what it is. You know, and you can't hide. Like if you quiet, like okay, it'll go past. But sometimes you have to speak out no matter what, because sometimes the truth just needs to be said. And that's real love when you're able to tell the truth. That's real love when you're able to tell the truth, no matter how a person takes it. And that's real love when a person is able to accept it coming from you with love. Forgiving before an apology comes, that's love. If you forgive somebody before they apologize, that'll make them think. Achievement in love is small. Making tea for a grieving friend, staying faithful in a dry season, showing up again. These build a life of love, and love always achieves what selfishness cannot: connection. I was just speaking with a friend of mine about friendship. Matter of fact, it was my son. And like I told him, I said, friendships mean more to me than anything. This is why I always did good in when I was in the street or in any business, because I value friendship more than money. See, money means nothing if you don't have a friend, you know. And today I have very few, but I have real friends. It's a difference of having so-called associates and having true friends. And like I tell people, when I was in the federal system when I was young, on my first bid, I used to, deal with the Italian guys, big mafia guys, and one thing one always told me, he said, if I could give this up, to be a plumber and be home with my family, that's love. you know, he would change his life. But sometimes we have to go through adversity to make the change. That's what the name of this program is. Tac. Through adversity comes change. You have to go through it to get to it. Love as appreciation. Gratitude is love's mercy. Let me say that again. Gratitude is love's mercy. Appreciation turns what we have into enough. Tonight, name 3 times love saved you. I'm asking whoever's out there, tell me 3 times love have saved you. A parent's sacrifice, a friend's late night call, a stranger's kindness. Appreciation always means thanking love for the hard lesson, the breakup, the mature you, the loss that deepens you. Love is not only a gift, but also a teacher. Like I said, love is the strongest force in the universe. It can make you the happiest and it can make you the saddest. I see I have a new person on. The name of this platform is called Tacc. Through Adversity Comes Change by me. My book is on Amazon. You can check it out. And I think it's a very good read. And what this is about is about healing. I did quite a few years in federal prison, and I finally reinvented myself and changed my mindset over 10 years ago. And I created 30 apps, devices, business concepts while I was locked up and got an honorary master's degree in business. So I'm now doing the things that I planned while I was incarcerated. So this is what this is all about. The book, the podcast, this is me giving back for the things that I think that I destroyed as a child. Appreciation turns what we have into enough. Okay, let me go back. Sorry. Ups and downs of love, joy, union, growth. When love rises, we feel invincible. Imagine if you ever had that feeling when you really in love, you feel like you can conquer the world. And that's just how good it feels. Like I said, the strongest force in the universe can make you the happiest, it can make you the saddest. First smiles, weddings, reconciliations, a child's birth, a dream realized. And in that order, that's what we feel like love is. Bam, just like that. First she smiles at you, smile at her. The wedding, reconciliations, child's birth, a dream realized. These ups are previews of heaven, moments when time stops and you think, this is why I am alive. Celebrate them. Let them fuel your belief that love is real, but do not idolize the ups. The same love that lifts will also sometimes lead you through valleys. Like I said, it can make you the happiest, it can make you the saddest, but that's what love is. Love is ups and downs. But the whole thing is sticking with it no matter what. And a lot of us, we look at it and we really don't understand. This is what I said. In order for you to understand love, you must accept, achieve, and then appreciate it. And you must go through those stages because what we think is love may not be love. So we must learn to uh, try to understand it, and once we are able to achieve it, we appreciate it. And once you appreciate it, you do everything in your power to keep it. Let's think about any relationship. Even the love of a mother from her child. The mother appreciates the child appreciates the mother. There's no better or stronger love than that. A boy and a girl who first meets falls in love. There's no better love than that, you know? But it's an emotional attachment. But love has a whole bunch of different parameters. The downs of love, grief, betrayal, distance. I know this one so very, very much. Love makes you saddest because you dare to care deeply. Think about that. How many times you've dared to care completely, and it came back and bit you in the butt. But this is what growth is about. See, this is why I tell you, yeah, ain't no question. I kind of figured you was going to chime in on that one, but it's the truth. We've all went through that. If you've ever had relationships, you know, and that's why I say it can make you the happiest or the saddest. But the beautiful thing about it, once you go through it, you get a better understanding of life. Because you see the one that's the closest to you can destroy your life. It makes you not want to trust, but when you have an open heart, you still will, but you're very cautious. And this is just how life is. Life has a way of teaching you. Like I said, your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons to get you to your blessings. And this is the only way you're going to go through it. We can't live our lives backward. We must live it forwards. so we can get the lessons and the blessings. Well, let me finish. A broken heart is not a sign of weakness, but of having love truly. Let me read that to you again. A broken heart is not a sign of weakness, but of having love truly. You don't go through emotions for somebody you didn't care for. So that was a lesson of love. Maybe it was painful, but it was still a lesson of love. Betrayal, death, misunderstanding, loneliness. These are love shadows. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah. 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 One second. Yet, even in the down, love does not leave. It becomes memory that still makes you weep. Thinking back, like, whoa, which means it still makes you human. The down proves love's weight. You know, that's you going through the motions and going through whatever you going through. And, you think back, such as every, especially niggas in jail. Niggas in jail think back. That's all we do is talk about, motherfuckers who crossed us, this, that, and that, woo, woo, woo. But you have to get past that, because it's just life. These are lessons of the choices that we made. Because, like I said, in the second principle, right? The second principle tells you wherever you're at in life, God put you there because He's driving the car, and you must take the responsibility that maybe something that you did got you there. You see what I'm saying? So this is all a part of it. This is why I say everything intertwines with it. And this is not me. This is the Most High. This is His program. I'm just a facilitator. Why we must be grateful for both ups and downs. Check this out. Grateful for ups is easy, but for downs, it's just like being a good winner, but you're not a good loser. You have to be able to win good and lose good. And this is one of the things that a lot of people are not. Pride, ego, or whatever. But this is something that we must get better at, because in life there's going to be always ups and downs, and you're going to go through more downs than ups. you know I used to do multi-level marketing, and one of the things that we used to talk about is you got to go through your no's to get to your yeses, and you're going to have a lot more no's than you're going to have yeses. Now, one yes could take you to the moon, but you're going to go through 100 or 1 million no's before you get to your yeses. Inventors, it took them 10,000 times to fail before they got one thing to make it work. So you got to go through your no's to get to your yeses. And you got to go through life lessons in order for you to get to your blessings. I didn't make this up. A person who has never lost cannot truly celebrate. A person who has never cried cannot truly laugh. Okay, okay, Pippin. A person who has never cried cannot truly laugh. Love's downs carve the capacity for deeper joy. Thank love for the night you thought you wouldn't survive. You're here, still loving. And this is what it's about. Ain't no question. Through adversity comes change. You know, um, Being able to go through uh, life ups and downs, and it takes time, But when you come to a place like I am in my life with peace, being at peace after have forgiven all the people who wronged me, but most importantly, forgiving myself, because everything starts and ends with me. So whatever happened to me is my fault. And then God gives you a peace after you go through what you have to go through. And I had to go through a lot. Like I said, it took me 6 years to put this program together. Of 6 years of being woke up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with ideas and writing it down, along with 29 other apps, devices, and business concepts. So you have to go through the fire in order for you to understand life for what it really is. And a lot of us don't want to go through that, but once you get old enough to understand, you enjoy having to go through so you can. Well, I ain't gonna say for most people, the people who are problem solvers in life, such as myself. Like I tell you, I don't cry over spilled milk. I clean it up, get some more. That energy I can use for something else. So when I see a problem, I'm automatically trying to figure out how to eradicate the problem. Most people are like, "Oh my God!" So the people who are like myself, you start to enjoy having the problems because you know it's going to get you to where you need to be. See, because God gives everybody adversities. Your adversities are different from mine, and mine are different from yours. But mine shape and mold me to who God wants me to be, like yours shape and mold you to who God wants you to be. If we paying attention, remember I said if we paying attention. You must let your conscience be your guide because this is how God sends messages to you after you get to a certain place in your life. You feel things and you see life for what it really is and see people for who they are. And you don't judge. You just understand that's what they are in their life. That's not where you are in your life. You understand? So when you get to that place in your life, man, it's a beautiful thing. I try to stay at peace at all times, and then it works. And I smoke a lot of weed, so that helps me a lot. Um, Love is the strongest force in the universe, stronger than hate. Yes, hate destroys itself. It's like I say, hate is like drinking poison, thinking the person that you are mad at is going to die. You're going to die because you're the dummy that drunk the poison. They've already shown they don't care about you. So why? Why do you let people like that rent space in your head? Like I said, I was like that for a long time. But then I finally realized, man, you have to stop letting people rent space in your head. And you have to let go and let God. You give it to him. He got bigger shoulders than we got. You understand what I'm saying? So you give it to him and you let it go. And now I'm at peace, you know, because I was finally able to forgive me. We're not perfect. We don't have instructions for everything in life, but it is what it is, and you just have to learn through life. And if you get knocked down 9 times, get up 10. You get knocked down 10 times, get up 11. Just keep going. Never quit. That's what cause see, one thing for sure, there's no place in heaven for cowards or quitters. God tells you that in the scripture. There's no place in heaven for a coward or a quitter. I ain't make the rules. He did. uh, the strongest force in the universe. Stronger than fear? Yes. Love casts out fear. You see what I'm saying? Love is God. And when fear is there, love casts that out. And that's God. But you have to be connected. That's why I ask you, how's your spirit? How's your connection with God? And it's an individual thing. You don't have to go through nobody, and nobody can give you a connection with him. That's something that you have to earn between you and him yourself. Stronger than death? Yes. Love leaves legacies because when you're truly loved, people will talk about you for eons. But when you're hated, you're forgotten before they throw the dirt on you. It's how it is. You know, even when I used to be in prison, something happens. In 2 weeks, it's bad. I'm talking about something bad happens. Within 2 weeks, it's forgotten about because something else has come up and people just wipe. That's just how life is. If you haven't impacted no one in your life, in a matter of short period of time, you'll be forgotten. It's about what you leave, the love that you leave here on earth. The love that you leave here on earth will sustain you for the next life. But you have to leave love, not hate. Changes DNA through nature, reshapes history. Talk about love. Think of every moment for justice, love of freedom, of truth, of the oppressed. Physics has forces. Love is a metaphysical. It heals neurons, ends wars, resurrects hope. This is love. It does all these things. God is love, and love is God. Not sentimentally, but the radical truth. God's essence is still giving. And look at everything around us. Look at the air we breathe. Look at everything we go through. Hold on one second. What's up, Mama?
All right.
Talk
Have
to
a
me.
good one. Yeah. Angel in there. Later. James, I was calling you to let you know that I'm coming to you after I run real quick somewhere.
All right. All right. Handle
Yeah,
your, handle your business, hustler.
you already.
All right. I'll see you when you get here.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Yeah. Let me go back 1 second, y'all. Yeah. Not sentimentality, but the radical truth. God's essence is self giving, compassionate, just and creative love. When you act in love, you align with the divine. Let me say that again. When you act in love, you align with the divine. When you withhold love, you separate from your own soul, meaning you separate from the godliness in you. And love feels better than hate. But there's so many people out here right now that they think that they're godly, but they're not. They have no godly nothing in them. And on the day of judgment, they're going to find out. See, one thing about God, God doesn't have hate in him at all. He may have created hate so that we can judge between right and wrong, but it's up to us. So the thing is, are you going to leave a legacy of hate or are you going to leave a legacy of love? I don't make the rules. It's up to you. This is why loving your enemy, forgiving the unforgivable, and serving the poor are not just moral acts. And let me give you a perfect example of that. Last year, last day of Ramadan, I got shot 9 times by a so-called brother, friend. And when I came home from the hospital, I prayed for the brother and his people, and I forgave them, and I asked God to forgive them. You have to be able to let all that go because if you don't, that's going to be a weight that's going to stop you from getting to the paradise. Because how can you want God to forgive you if you're not able to forgive someone else? You see what I'm saying? It's not about in the talking, it's about living. You know what I'm saying? And a person knows me, knows how I live. They know I live the right way, period. And I do the right thing no matter what. And like I tell people, doing the wrong thing doesn't even feel good to me no more. So I abstain from it. And I don't deal with people with negativity. I only deal with positive people, you know? And that's the God honest truth. Uh, so this is why loving your enemy, forgiving the unforgivable, and serving the poor are not just moral acts. They are theological acts. God is not a distant king. God is the love between you and your neighbor. This is why God says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I'm gonna give you another thing. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if you if your neighbor is in fear of you when you're around, you're not a good neighbor. If your neighbor is hungry while you're around, you're not a good neighbor. So what this is saying that we must love each other and do right by each other. This is what it's about, and we gotten away from it takes a community, and it takes a community. And we've gotten away from that, and we've grown money hungry in the absence of morals, principles, and scruples. Just think about it. If you go back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was real racist, but it was moral scruples and principles. People respected each other. There's no respect. Everything is about the dollar or something far fetched from what life is really about. And this is what we have to learn. We have to get better with. We have to do the right thing no matter what, because God is watching. Like I said, love is God and God is love. You can't get to the paradise until you love people like God loves us and want for your brother what you want for yourself. And if you love for your brother what you want for yourself, you will always wish the best for everyone. I pray for everyone on earth every day. The people who are dead, the people who are alive, the people who love me, the people who don't love me, people who hate me. I pray for everybody every day because you know what? Maybe one day that prayer might help them to be a better person. I try every day to be a better person. This is why I reinvented myself and changed my mindset over 10 years ago. I could have still been a criminal. I don't want that in my life no more. That's not cool. The cool part is gone. Now it's time to get my life on track. And I'm starting at 61. But I have advantage because I have the knowledge from all the things I went through that the average person don't have. And I've had a lot of money in my life. So that's not a problem. And that's not to brag, just to show you when you understand what I'm saying is if you've gotten it before, you can get it again. And you just have to figure out new ways. And this is one right here, inshallah, with God's grace. Um, Love makes you the happiest. Check this out. Happiness from love is not constant euphoria, but deep contentment. See, because it makes you think. Real love makes you think. And it's a feeling like I think I was saying the other day, you coming home from work and your family run to the door. Or your animal, even your animal, run to the door happy to see you. That's real love, make you think like, man, they really, you know? Studies show that people who love and are loved live longer. I don't know about that, but you can live a happier life, heal faster. I can agree with that, and report more meaning. I can understand that one. Happiness is waking up next to someone you choose. I can definitely understand that. Hearing, I understand. Giving without counting costs. Love's happiness is quiet, sturdy, and available even in pain because to love is to matter. And you definitely have to have matter if you ever loved before because you had to love someone. How love can make you the saddest and why that's still worth it. Yes, love can break you, and God knows, especially brothers in prison. And I was one of them. When you're going through it, you're like, man, blah, blah. And then I can understand brothers out here. Of course, it happens. But it's nothing like a story from being heartbroken. But the great part about it is the resilience, bouncing back and living the right life after that. It's a beautiful thing. But after you go through it, you think, if you're a person of conscience and thought, you thank God for putting you through that because now you can see life for what it is and see people for they are. And you don't judge because that's just all you say is, look, that's what they are. They're a piece of shit. That's what they are. That don't make you that. And you got to always understand that. You don't have to be what somebody else is. You can always change the rules and be better and stay that way. And that's what I choose without a shadow of a doubt. Uh, but would you rather be numb? The saddest people are not those who loved and lost, but those who've never loved at all. And see, that's the beautiful thing about it. It's better to be loved and lost it because now you have the experience. Like I said, you through adversity come change. You got to go through it to get to it. But if you've never loved, you'll never know. So you can be tricked at any time. But when you've loved and lost, now it's hard to trick you because you're on guard, you're on point. And that's just how life is. Love risks is like proof of courage. Tonight, accept that love will ask everything of you, then appreciate that you were chosen to carry such a weight because at the end of your life, only love will have mattered. And that's the truth. No matter what you've gone through in life, at the end of the life, love is going to be the last thing that mattered in your life, whether it be love of God, love of your family, love of yourself, love of money, love of whatever. That be the last. So tonight, love is helping everyone is this room accepts what is, achieve what is good, and appreciate what remains. Go home and love without guarantees. Love as if God is watching because God is love and love is watching through your eyes. You are the strongest force in the universe when you choose love. You understand what I'm saying? You are the strongest force in the universe when you choose love over hate because love is God and God is love. And a lot of people don't understand that. And this is why this platform is called Tacc. Through adversity comes change. My book is on Amazon. You can pick it up at any time. And it's a deep book. Like and subscribe my platform. And I'm trying to help people to heal. I've been through a lot. 28 years federal prison. Losing millions, businesses, houses, uh, going through halfway houses, going through shelters, Getting my own plays, getting shot 9 times afterwards, having to go through surgery 3 times to properly heal, and still not being bitter, writing a book, now doing a podcast. This is when you don't let what happens to you defeat you. This is when you defeat what happens to you and you come out on top with love. This is what it's all about. That's what life is all about. And people are gonna see one day that none of this stuff really mattered. Of course you can't take nothing with you. And when they say that, it's not talking about money because we know you can't take it with you. It's talking about what God says. Not an atom's weight of pride can enter the paradise. So you can't take no kind of pride. What hides in pride? Jealousy, envy, hate, all kinds of isms and schisms. So like when I tell you, I forgive everybody, but most importantly, I forgive me. So I take the weight of all the stuff that hides in pride and let it go and give it to the Most High. He got bigger shoulders than me. He can handle it. And this is what it's all about. Doing the right thing for the right reason, because God is always watching. And knowing that whatever He puts you through is for a reason. And you must accept the responsibility that your choices might have shaped your adversities, and your adversities become the lessons to get you to your blessings. This is what it's all about. Living life the right way, doing the right thing no matter what, you know, and living right, doing right by people, but most importantly, doing right by you, making the right decisions in your life, not letting other people make the decisions for you. And whenever you make a bad decision or you let somebody make a decision for you, you accept that responsibility and say, look, I let them do that, so it's my fault. And take the responsibility and keep it moving. This is why I'm not mad at nobody. Of course, the choices I made, and even though I got screwed over, I made the choices to let them happen to me. That's why I forgive everyone. Most importantly, I forgive me. You have to learn to forgive you, but you must forgive others first because you ain't gonna be able to forgive yourself until you forgive others because it's gonna keep coming back up in your head. You gotta let it go. You know, it is what it is. It happens. Shit happens. There's no instructions to life. You live and you love. You lose it, you get it again. But never stop loving. Like I said, this platform is called Tacc. Through adversity come change. 5 principles, 3 articles, 1 healer, helping everyone accept, achieve, appreciate love. And this is what all I want to do is help each and every one of us accept, achieve, and appreciate love. So we can heal, so we can learn the truth from the lies. We can come together and build a society of righteous people. This platform is not a spirit religious program. It's a spiritual program for difficult people who make life difficult. It's about helping you to learn to become undifficult, teaching you to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable so you can be comfortable with being comfortable. But right now, most of us are comfortable with being uncomfortable. But we must learn to be uncomfortable with the uncomfortability so we can learn to be comfortable with comfortability so that we can live life right. And I hope and pray that people join my platforms and my mission so we can heal together. Because if I help you heal, it's gonna help me heal. Everything in time. I'll be here. Tack man out. Y'all have a blessed night. Just know that if nobody told you today they love you, I'm telling you. And the most high love you. Peace.